Hello and welcome to another fun, more vlog style video. So today, or over the past week, I have been natural dyeing some yarn with both a kit that included wildflowers and onion skins and some other materials that you can use to naturally dye, and then also using avocado pits and skins to dye some yarn. So I made 2 skeins of a nice tonal pink from the avocados, and then one kind of sock set or skein of a beautifully dyed with little wildflower yarn that's more variegated. So I'd originally filmed an intro before I started, but I don't know what happened to it. So I'm here now to just kind of talk about what I'm doing, because I definitely, as editing this video, realize it starts off very suddenly. So the process of natural dyeing is really fun. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but I chose to try 2 different methods this week. And so the first one I tried was a kind of simmer pot method, where I took my yarn, I soaked it for a long time, like 24 hours. I added some citric acid to it too, which wasn't included in the instructions, but I had some citric acid, and that does help to basically brighten your colors. So I decided to add a little citric acid, soaked some yarn overnight, and then also boiled water or simmered water for about 3 hours with avocado pits and skins in it to make a nice pink dye color. Let that sit overnight, and then the next day put my damp yarn into my avocado water, let that simmer for about 30 minutes, and then had yarn that I rinsed out and let dry. So that's the first process I did, and the video is going to start as I'm kind of in the middle of after soaking it and starting my avocado water. And then I also dyed a sock blank, which is blank or undyed yarn that you can get where it's already been knit up and it's 2 strands held together to be knit up into like some knitting that you can dye kind of more intentionally to see what it's going to turn out like on a knit piece of fabric. And so with that, I had a kit from one of my wonderful friends from Christmas to make a bandana, which I'm actually wearing. So here's the bandana. I do have a whole separate reel that I made about this, so I'll have that playing here. But I took a lot of those herbs as well from this kit for natural dyeing on silk and used it to natural dye on wool. So I got my wool wet, kind of damp again, laid it out, laid all of my herbs on half of it, and all of my flowers, all of my natural dye elements. There was onion skins, there was calendula, there were marigolds, there were hollyhock and hibiscus, and probably something else, chamomile. And so laid all of that over my yarn that was knit up, folded it in half, rolled it up nicely, and then steamed it for about an hour as well. So very interesting processes, and you'll see what these have ended up like. You'll see generally more into the process. Again, I missed the first few steps of soaking. I don't know what happened to my videos, but it's kind of going to cut in the middle of me laying out all of my herbs and flowers on that natural yarn. But there you go. I hope that you'll enjoy it. And I had a lot of fun doing this, and I'm really excited for you to see the final result. So talk to you soon. Okay, so I let this steam a little bit more than 1 hour, definitely closer to like 2 or 3, or soak a little bit more than 1 hour, definitely closer to 2 or 3 hours. So it is very ready. You can see that some of the flower hammering is left on here. But yeah, it's a little bit damp now, and I'm going to just apply all of my flowers and other dyes and then roll it up tightly, and then we'll dye it. We'll steam it. So cue a fun little montage of me doing this. Okay, I've got a status update with my probably pretty loud dishwasher, so sorry if you can hear that. I've got my pot with avocado pits and skins. I've got 4 pits, and I don't know, the skins are kind of broken up, but I tried to make it about the same amount of skins. And then they're still very hot, but I have taken out the steamed yarn. I don't know if the color is gonna seep through, I'm not sure yet, but I'm keeping it in the bundle probably overnight as it dries, so we will get to see what this looks like in the morning. Same with the little silk one. This one I can tell has worked because the fabric's thinner, so that's exciting. And yeah, I'm gonna make my avocado pit and skin soup now, so we can make our color that then will sit overnight. So I'm gonna do that.
Supposed to make pink.
It's supposed to. Everything's done now, so all of the skeins that I dyed are finished rinsing, drying, all of that. And so I've got some fun reveals. I'll start with the flower dyed yarn because that's what we did first. And so I have got one skein and one cake because the knitted square had two strands held together, so I just used my Swift to make one skein, and I used my hank or my ball wonder to make a ball. And so these are super kind of simple. There's, you can see some little speckles of different colors throughout, like some blues and yellows and like oranges, and it's so fun to get to see them in both the cake form and the skein form. So I'm really happy that I got to do this because I get to see this kind of section here, and these should be the exact same because it was two strands held together or really similar. So they were dyed at exactly the same time with, you know, all the pieces in the same place on the yarn. So they should be really similar when I knit them up. Um, and yeah, there's just all these fun little speckles, and you know, they're still pretty neutral. They're still mostly like a cream yarn. So I am gonna knit them up. I feel like I want to do this again and try to make more colors happen. So I am planning on actually growing some flowers this year that I can use to natural dye yarn. So I will probably have a video about that in the late summer, just to show if I can do that, because this was really fun and I want to do it again, but make it a little bit more colorful, a little bit more all over in the color. But I did really, really enjoy this experiment, and like, look at all those. So yeah, 10 out of 10 on this one. I am also wearing the headscarf that I dyed at the same time. It's very light. I don't think that the headscarf was wet enough when I steamed it, and so in most areas the dye did not even kind of seep in, which is fine. I again get to do this again because I want to grow dye plants so I can re-dye this bandana. I have another one, so there we go. But yeah, so that's how these turned out. I think they're really cute. And then the avocado yarn turned out like this. I did put the label back on one of them, but they're exact same, so I'll just show you this one mostly. But I do have two skeins here, and again, this was the Capretta base from Knit Picks, and it's 80% merino wool, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And after messing with this yarn for quite a few days, like soaking it overnight, dyeing it, and simmering it with avocados, and then rinsing it, it is so soft and plump. I love this yarn. Like, I want to just knit with this base. And the color here is a very, very light pink, and I think it's a beautiful color. I did notice afterwards that I feel like, okay, I'm very red right now, but like looking at my chest, I feel like the yarn's pretty close to my skin color. So I was thinking of making like a t-shirt or a tank top with this yarn, but now that I feel like it's kind of skin color, I don't know if I would like that. So it does have nylon. I theoretically could make some socks out of this as well. Or I can try to dye it again. Because I think what happened with this one is it's non-superwash, and so the colors take a lot longer to absorb. And so I should have probably used more avocados, simmered the avocado bits for longer, and then simmered the yarn in the avocado bits for longer as well. So again, a learning experience. It is still really pretty, and it's definitely like a really nice, fun pink. It's such a light, beautiful, like beautiful color. But again, I think maybe could be darker. So I want to try this again in the future. I still have a bag and a half in my freezer of avocado leftovers for skins and pits. So I can do this again, which is awesome to know. So I might do that again as well. Maybe on the same yarn, or I'll get more yarn. Maybe I'll try it on a superwash base. So those are the yarns. This was really fun. It took a lot longer than expected. It's Thursday and I started this process on Monday. So it's been almost a full work week of working on yarn, and most of that is, you know, waiting for it to soak in long enough or waiting for it to cool or waiting for it to dry. And so it's not a very time intensive, like effort intensive process, but it does take a while waiting for everything to dry. So if you do want to do this for yourself, give yourself like a week between all the steps, I'd say. Just they can take some time, and then hopefully you can learn from me. Soak things for longer, boil things for longer than you think. Because I had originally been so scared because the color I was making with the avocado, like boiling the avocados, was really dark. So then I was worried that it was going to be way too dark. And so I didn't boil it as long as I thought. I should have boiled it for the 3 hours instead of, I think I did like an hour and a half. So learn from me, do things for longer, and just it's fun to kind of embrace with natural dyeing. Like you can't control the process fully because it's natural materials. You don't know how many tannins are in a particular avocado pit, or how much pigment is in these things. Like there's some you can guess with, but it's natural dyeing. I don't know. It was also my first time doing it, but I think it's just fun to kind of go with the flow. So yeah, I enjoyed this. It was a fun experiment, and I'm excited to do more of it in the future. So I hope you've also enjoyed watching this, and maybe I've inspired you to dye up some of your own yarn or finished objects or cloth of some kind. Let me know. I think you can do this on cotton as well, silk, of course, and then wool, of course. So I would really be interested to see if any of you have worked with natural dyeing before, what you've dyed, what your experience was, or if you're interested in doing it now and what you'd like to dye. So let me know. And with that, I will say goodbye. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.